Okay, we're almost to March 1st, a few days away from March 1st, and it's time to do our first of our spraying for our fruit trees that are outdoors. So, any outdoor fruit trees, the first spraying, one of three, will be the all season horticulture oil. And for most of us, it's known as just spraying with horticulture oil. And so I buy the all season brand. And I put about 2 tablespoons per gallon of water. I only have 3 apple trees that need the spraying, so I have my spray tank here, and we'll be spraying these 2 apple trees. And as you noticed, that was a little grasshopper, tiny little grasshopper that was sitting on the outside, trying to get into my apple tree. But I have these 2 dwarf apple trees, and I have the netting, the winter netting on it. Funny thing is as it was heating up for the last couple days, we had a little bit of frost, snow frost that came on board today. So you can see it's still fairly cold. But the weather this week is going to be anywhere between 50 and 57. So it is well warm enough to go ahead and, oh man, these are all the leaves that came off the tree. See? There's the winter rising. So, anyways, it is time to spray this tree. Wonder what the stuff is, the fuzz. But, anyways, let's go ahead, take this away. Oh, hold on, guys. Okay, so I winterized this tree, and what I basically did was I went ahead and put a jacket on it, and then I also wrapped the tree. Just like in previous videos, I show you, in order to deter ants from getting on it on my tree, I'll go ahead and put a little, that tape barrier. Well, the same thing in the wintertime, but this time I just put a jacket on it, a wrap. And so we'll take this off because any horticulture oil, the one of three that we'll do before the flowers bloom, we got to take all the stuff off. Now, what happens is I spray my first spraying is going to be horticulture oil. And then 2 to 3 weeks later, I'll do a copper fungicide spray. And then 2 to 3 weeks after that, I'll go ahead and do a neem oil spray. Now, you got to give it about a 2 to 3 week period in between the sprayings. And it's very important that you get these sprayings done, all 3 of them, before the buds break. You see these tiny little buds? It's hard to tell, but there's buds right there. Once they start protruding out, and before the flowers open up, and here in zone 8B, the flowers will open up somewhere probably late March, middle of April. You want to make sure, the spray did not work as well as I hoped, but let's go ahead and go this way. I think I'm missing a nozzle on this, guys. Hold on. But anyways, you want to go ahead and get the spraying done in your 2 to 3 week in between intervals. And you need to get those things done by about no later than mid-April, because we're going to get basically we're basically going to get the flowers to bloom no later than about middle of April. And so we want to make sure that that we get all 3 sprayings done by then. And so what'll happen is if I don't get out here by about March 1st, it's hard to get 3 sprayings in. So very important for me to go ahead and get these sprayings done. At least the first one by March 1st. So let's see if this thing works here. Oh, finally. Okay, pump my tree. Get it all sprayed. Now, like they tell you in the classes, you got to get all the little pieces. You just go ahead and soak that baby and make sure you get every little branch, every nook. Because what happens is these apple worms, apple maggots, they basically get in the little crevices. So they have a way of just finding little spots and just burrowing in the root. And so it's very important to get all into that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move around here, get to the back side, and notice how this side here was dry right there. I'm going to go ahead and get the dry side, get all that little nooks and crannies, get into that. Let's get some of these leaves out of the way. And so I'll go ahead and get all the corners and stuff that weren't wetted down. You see, you can see some of the areas that didn't get through the first spray round on the front side. So get that all done nice and neat. Get all the crevices there. This stuff is super cheap, so no big deal. And same thing over here. Get that, get the crevices there, get the tops of it, get the corners. Go ahead and do that. These are the apple trees. One's Gala, the other one is a dwarf Fuji. So dwarf Fuji and the Gala. Okay, now let's move over here. And this is a Asian pear tree. Took the wrap off, took the covering casing off. It is still kind of cold, but the fact that we're going to get almost 60-degree weather coming up here, March 1st, it's really important to just go ahead and get this first spraying done. You do not want freezing weather, so you got to make sure that temperatures are above freezing at nighttime. And then before it gets to be over 80 degrees, over 70 degrees, you want to get this dormant, over 70 degrees, you want to get this dormant spraying done. And so March, just a few days before March the 1st is the perfect time for us here in Zone 8B. Oh, shoot. And so we'll go ahead and get both of these sprayings done on the 2 apple trees and the pear tree. Okay. And these gallon sprayers or 2-gallon sprayers over at Home Depot and Lowe's are fairly inexpensive. I think I got mine even on sale for like $14.67 or $14.97 or something like that. But you know, they run $19.99 to $22.99 depending on your location, but pretty inexpensive, cheap. This is an Asian pear tree with 4 different types of Asian pears. Each of these 4 limbs have a different variety. They have been basically grafted on, but they kind of mimic the same thing as a apple tree, so it falls under the same scheduling. So I need to make sure that before the flowers bloom, and most of us see the cherry blossoms bloom somewhere about mid-April, maybe early April, late April, depending on if it's colder in your area. But you want to get that spraying done definitely by then. And so since we're almost at March 1st here, just a couple days away, it's really important for me to get out here, especially because this week we're going to have high temperatures around 57 to 59. I mean, at night it'll drop down to the low 40s, maybe even high 39s, but really important to get this started. I'm going to go ahead and move all the stuff out, let it air out a little bit better. But this is where we're at right now. This one here has some sort of like a little bit of coating of dust or something on here. I think just the fact that it's been covered up and stayed nice and toasty warm has kind of caused that. But plant looks healthy. I'll go ahead and spray this all in the nooks and crannies here. And then we'll deal with that. Okay, I think that is it. If you guys have questions, let me know.